As a parent, do you ever feel like you're saying the same things over and over every day? I know sometimes you do. Actually, if you think about it, 90% at least of the things we keep telling our children every day, they already know it. They know that they're supposed to talk to us with respect, they're supposed to brush their teeth, they're supposed to wash their hands, they know very well that they're supposed to finish their homework. But for some reason, we need to keep saying the same thing over and over, having the same fights sometimes, and giving instructions. Why do you think this happens? I think this is a good point to stop and think, am I doing something wrong? Is something not working? Because if we keep trying the same thing over and over and expecting different results, that wouldn't be very smart. We need to think what is not working well and try to replace it with a different strategy. So what happens when we keep saying the same thing over and over? Actually, what happens is that our kids get used to us having to say something for them to do it. So have you ever noticed when your child is back from school, for instance, and then you say, go wash your hands, change your clothes, and have lunch or whatever, and then they do one thing of the instructions and then come back to you and stand like this, waiting for the next instruction? Well, actually, what's happening here is that they're used to just respond to instruction. They're not using their own mind to learn self-discipline and learn what they're supposed to do. So this is the word we're going to be focusing on today, self-discipline. How to teach my child to make good choices and to actually have their own habits and discipline without us needing to force them or push them or always give instructions for them to do something. First of all, we need to remind ourselves that learning self-discipline is a big skill. It might take years and years for me, and this is our goal, to help them eventually have self-discipline. We can't expect it to happen from a day or two or a week, but by time and consistency, they develop it when they're ready for it. As we always say, every child is going to be different and have different readiness for being self-disciplined. But if we keep consistently trying, praising when they do something right, and putting consequences when things are not done, we eventually get there. And here we need to stop and think, how about using rewards and punishment? Well, that's another part of the reason why kids don't have self-discipline, because they always think that they need to do something, they need to get something in return to doing things. So they're not learning the value of the action itself, they're just focusing on getting the reward or avoiding the punishment. So their focus is shifted from learning the good value, what we want to do, why we do it, to focusing on, am I going to get the reward or not? How can I get the reward with the shortest distance? How can I avoid the punishment? How can I hide when I do something wrong? So again, our main aim is that at the time when we are not around, when they're at the school making a choice or out with their friends or living alone at a point of time, they have the habits that would help them be successful and have self-discipline. So what can we do to teach our children self-discipline? The first important part is having routine and structure at home. Do we have a way that the things need to be done at home to communicate it in a way or another? Sometimes for the younger ages, especially, it's much more easier to have it written somewhere. If they can't read yet, maybe we have some pictures. You will always find some times in the day where you need more structure than the others. So this is where you can start. Like we can hang on the fridge or on the wall the morning routine, the dinner time routine, the mealtime routine, the bed routine. The whole point is we want to make very simple steps for them to learn what they need to do without me telling them. So for instance, if we have in the morning, we wake up, wash our face, brush our teeth, do wudu and do our prayers and then have breakfast or whatever the routine is, we need to sit down and write it or draw it if they're young ages, and then we need to follow it for a few days or weeks or sometimes even longer. But the trick is to help them follow it on their own. So when they come and do for instance, if they just wash their face and they're not dressed for school yet, and then they just come, we just ask, did you forget something? If they said no, can you go and check your routine on the fridge or on the wall? So what we're trying to do is to get them to find a way to follow up on their own actions. For instance, if they keep forgetting stuff that they need to take to school or to practice, or when they're going on a play date, we help them learn to make a list of the things they need to put in their bag. So the whole point is, rather than me keeping the habit of telling them, did you put that? Did you remember to take your channel book? Did you remember to take your swimsuit for practice? Did you remember to take something for your friend? We actually help them develop the skill of being prepared. Same as the skill of time management, same as the skill of being organized. We focus on the long-term learning of the skill rather than what needs to be done today. Another way to help kids to have self-discipline is to explain the reason why we're doing the things, not just put rules, not just give orders. We actually explain why it's important to take care of our hygiene. Why do we pray? Why do we say dua? Why do we eat healthy? Why do we exercise? To actually help them understand why would they want to choose to do these things. We need to help them learn problem-solving skills by practicing it with them and by allowing them to think for themselves. If every time a child comes back with a problem, we actually go and solve it, then we're sending a message that they cannot solve it on their own, and at the same time, we're not helping them practice the skill and develop it by making mistakes and learning and getting it right sometimes and wrong sometimes till they get there. So it's very important to practice problem solving and ask them questions that would help them fix their own problems. We want to create healthy habits. So whatever it's something we want to introduce as a habit, we need to be doing it over and over for a while. We need to follow through. Sometimes we just say the thing and expect them to learn. Learning habits and changing behavior is a hard task. It takes time and takes follow through. So reminding them if we need to, helping them remind themselves, asking them how can we help them to remember the next time, and praise them when they do it. I noticed today that you remember to brush your teeth on your own. I like that you're starting to pick up on your routine. I'm noticing that you're getting more organized with your things, so they feel that they're getting progress and be encouraged to do more. The last thing is to put consequences for our actions. Remember, we said I need to learn from my mistakes, and to be able to learn from my mistakes, I need to bear the consequences. So if I, for instance, I forget the things, when we're going to school, I forgot something, and every time my parent would bring it to school, for instance, or we will go back home to bring it. No, I need to bear the consequences. I need to go to my teacher and talk about how I forgot something or how I did not finish my homework and bear the consequences of that. Trying to always protect them or rescue them from bearing the negative results is not going to help them. On the contrary, it's going to make them not stand up for themselves and for their mistakes and learn from it. Best of luck, inshallah, and I'll see you next time.